Hello, TikTokers. I'm the Christian Relationship Counsellor. I'm just calling myself that only because I'm a counsellor. I'm a Christian, and I feel as though I know a little bit about relationships. But I don't just want to talk about relationships. I want to talk about aspects of the Bible that relate to us today. Try to interpret them so that we can understand it in today's terms. It's going to take me a little while to feel comfortable with this because it's a brand new channel. I'm not quite sure where I'm going with it. I just have been guided, I guess, or I just got the inspiration to do it. Now, I'm going through Matthew at the moment, and I was reading about Jesus calling Matthew to be a disciple. Now, he was a tax collector, and Jesus invited them around for dinner, and Matthew brings all his mates, some of them, what they call sinners, according to the Pharisees. And the Pharisees were saying, look, how can you entertain all this scum in your house? These people, they're all they were more or less being very arrogant and calling them all criminals and more or less saying, Jesus, you shouldn't really be associating yourself with these people. And Jesus was saying, look, people who are healthy don't need a doctor, only those who are sick. So what's the point of bringing in, as far as he's concerned, people who are healthy into my home and people who don't need the word of God? And I was thinking to myself, they have this phrase, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And it's interesting because this doesn't seem to fit that phrase, does it? Because they weren't really his friends, but he was bringing them into his space, into his circle. A lot of us, we don't want to bring people who are unfavourable into our circle. We're a bit worried about them, a bit worried about what people are going to say. We're worried about people's opinions. And so we tend to want to be seen in the best light, and we only associate ourselves with people who can kind of enhance our image and our reputation. Jesus didn't care about that. He didn't care about his reputation. All he cared about is that he was going to try and transform the minds of these people who at the moment were kind of criminally minded, for want of a better word. So what is our job today? When you're thinking about the type of people you have in your life, is it right to look for the perfect partner? Somebody who's not going to bring you any challenges, somebody who's quite easy to get along with, somebody who's so compatible and you don't have no major issues, you're always laughing and smiling and everything is well? Or is it important for you to bring somebody into your fold or into your life or into your space who needs to grow, who needs to develop, who needs to become a better person? It's very difficult because when you bring in people who are, say, criminally minded or who might be far from favourable in the grand scheme of things, you're kind of putting yourself at risk, aren't you? You're putting yourself at risk that they might take something from you. You can put yourself at risk that they may even harm you. Because if they are the type that are not sincere or they have this kind of criminal mindset, you're going to be worried about your belongings at home and your safety. So you're going to feel quite skeptical about bringing those people in your space. But what God is saying is that, these are the type of people you need to bring into your space. I don't know if he's talking about these times when everybody's so crazy and people have mental issues and you've got people who are resentment and angry and, adverse childhood experiences and all kinds of things are going wrong. It's not very safe to bring these people in your house nowadays. But how do you reach out to them without actually bringing them into your space? How can you change the mindset of people without actually having them in your space? I guess through your conduct, through your behaviour, through your consistency, through your reliability, through an act of love and showing that you care. And that's when Jesus said to these tax collectors and what they call thieves and goodness knows what, when he brought them into his home, by his behaviour of generosity and charity, he possibly changed who they were. We're not told that he changes who they are, but we do know that he influenced them. And we do know that he actually backed them. And he backed them in front of the Pharisees. So if he can back them in front of the Pharisees, you can imagine how better they must have felt. And sometimes when you big people up, their behaviour actually improves. If somebody who is a criminal, in quotes, and you say, look, I believe in this person and I know, I can vouch for that person, they're not going to recommit, they're not going to do anything bad again, I'm actually got my faith in that person. Sometimes they let you down, but sometimes they do turn around because they don't want to disappoint you. So all I'm saying is that, when you're thinking about Jesus bringing these tax collectors and everybody in the fold, and the Pharisees who considered themselves mightier than thou and, holier than thou, I should say, and believed that they were the standard that everybody should follow, and yet they were so judgmental and critical, towards people. Those are the people who are going to be judged the harshest, because they say, judge not, lest ye be judged. So by judging Jesus and saying, look, you shouldn't have those people in your house, they're actually forcing Jesus to look at them and say, okay, well, I'm going to look at your behaviour now. So where am I going with this? I just think that with people, you have to give people a chance. You don't put yourself at risk in doing so. But not everybody is going to be perfect. Nobody is perfect. And when you're thinking about bringing people into your life, you have to kind of think, how can you help this person? We all want people who can uplift us, who can support us, whether it's financially, whether it's physically, whether it's emotionally. That's what everybody wants in a partner. But sometimes you have to take on people who, by your behaviour, they actually improve. And you set the example, and I think I'm going to stop there. Otherwise, I'm going to be waffling. And that's all for now. Bye-bye. It never stops, does it? Why doesn't it stop?